Every morning at exactly 6:32, James Walker heard the same sound. 3 soft knocks on the old wooden door of his cabin. They were always the same, gentle, careful, as if the person on the other side didn't want to wake the world. For 3 long years, it never changed, no matter the season, no matter the weather. She always came. James would open the door and see her. A small girl, maybe 9 or 10 years old. Standing in the cold mist, her eyes glowed faintly blue. Like the edge of a dying star, her skin was pale with a soft shimmer. Not human, not exactly, and every morning she said the same word, "Daddy." The first time it happened, James had frozen. He thought it was a dream, a trick of the fog. But the girl just looked at him with sad, hopeful eyes. When he didn't answer, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the trees. The next morning, she came again and again. She said the same word, and again. She left when he didn't reply. Now, 3 years later, James had stopped asking why. He didn't tell anyone anymore. Not the neighbors in town, not the local sheriff, not even the radio operator who sometimes checked on him. They already thought he was crazy, the man who talked about aliens, the man who lived alone after the colony mission went wrong. But James wasn't crazy. He remembered what he saw in the sky. He remembered the flash, the lost crew, the strange signal they had picked up before everything went silent. And he remembered the name of the little girl from that mission, Lyra. He told himself it couldn't be her. It wasn't possible. She was gone. But every morning when the girl came, she looked just like her. Same hair, same glowing eyes, same small voice saying that one word, "Daddy." James had started keeping notes. He wrote down every date, every weather condition, every word she said. But there were never any differences. She never aged. She never changed her clothes. She never looked confused. It was as if she was stuck in the same moment of time. Repeating it again and again, he tried to film her once. He set up a camera on the porch, waiting. But when she came, the camera flickered. The screen went black. The sound cut out. And when it came back, she was gone. Only the sound of those 3 soft knocks remained on the recording. He sent the tape to a friend from his old research team. The friend laughed, said the signal was probably interference. But James knew better. There was something about her, something that felt like a memory trying to reach through time. That morning, the air was colder than usual. Fog wrapped around the cabin like white smoke. James sat by the window, waiting for the sound. He didn't sleep much anymore. His coffee had gone cold. Then it came, 3 soft knocks. He stood up slowly, heart heavy. He opened the door. She was there again. Same small figure, same glowing eyes, same calm face, but today something was different. Her lips trembled, and when she spoke, her voice was shaky. "Daddy?" she whispered. Then after a pause, she added, "They're coming." James froze. The fog behind her seemed to move. He stared into it, but there was nothing. Only shifting shadows and silence. He wanted to ask, "Who's coming?" But the words caught in his throat. The girl looked frightened. Her eyes flickered like a dying signal. Then she turned and walked away, disappearing faster than ever before. James stood in the doorway, breathing hard. He looked down and saw something small on the ground, a thin metallic shard. He picked it up, and it pulsed softly. It wasn't metal. It was some kind of crystal. Humming with faint blue light, he took it inside and placed it on the table. When he touched it again, a whisper echoed through the room. "Help me." James stepped back, his heart racing. The voice was hers, the girl's voice, coming from the crystal. He stared at it, shaking. For 3 years, she had come without a change, without emotion. But now, for the first time, she had said something different, something alive. "Help me." He sat down, head spinning. His old computer still worked. Though barely, he connected the shard. Watching as strange symbols appeared on the screen, they weren't in any human language. But one word kept repeating among the symbols. "Lyra." James whispered her name. The computer flickered again, and for a second, he saw her face on the monitor, flickering like static. She looked right at him and mouthed the word again. "Daddy." The screen went black. The cabin lights dimmed. Outside, the wind howled, carrying a faint echo of that small voice. James leaned back in his chair, realizing the truth. This wasn't a haunting. It was a message. A call that had been traveling through time and space for 3 long years. And now, it was finally reaching him tomorrow. When the knocking came again, he would answer. This time, he would not let her walk away. The next morning came with thick fog and quiet air. James Walker didn't sleep much. He sat by the window again, waiting for the sound that had haunted him for years. 3 soft knocks, right on time, 6:32. He stood up and opened the door slowly. She was there again, just like always, same small figure, same glowing eyes, same sad face, but today, after what happened yesterday, she looked different, not older, not younger, just more alive somehow. The light around her flickered softly, like a candle fighting the wind. James wanted to speak, but his throat felt dry. He forced out a word. "Who are you?" The girl blinked, her lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. Then, after a few seconds, she whispered, "Daddy?" Again, and turned to walk away. James felt something inside him break. He couldn't let her leave again, not after what she said yesterday. He ran out into the fog, calling, "Wait. Please wait." But by the time he reached the trees, she was gone. The air was empty again. He walked back to the cabin, holding the strange crystal in his hand. It was still glowing faintly, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. He placed it on his work table beside his old research tools, dusty scanners, broken monitors, and a small transmitter he had built years ago. He turned one of the scanners on, pointing it at the crystal. The machine hummed and clicked, and then stopped. On the screen appeared strange readings. No heat, no DNA, no energy pattern known to human tech. But there was a signal, faint, repeating, the same pattern every morning. Exactly when she arrived, James wrote it all down. He compared notes from the last 3 years. Every visit happened at the same time, with the same coordinates. But something odd stood out. Every day, the signal grew weaker, like it was fading. He whispered to himself, "She's not real. She's a message, a projection, maybe even an echo." But then he remembered her eyes, her voice, her fear when she said, "They're coming." That wasn't a recording, that was emotion. That was life. He opened his computer and played the recording again. The static voice came through the speakers. "Help me," it said. Then another faint layer appeared under the sound, almost like a whisper behind a whisper. "Before they erase us," James froze. He turned the volume up. There it was again, clearer this time. "Before they erase us." He felt a chill crawl up his spine. Who were they? And what did she mean by erase? He thought about the old mission, 3 years ago. He had been part of a rescue team sent to a new colony on Vega 9. A communication station had gone silent, and his crew was sent to check. But when they arrived, everything was gone. No people, no ships, only empty buildings and ash. He remembered one survivor report, a scientist saying the colony had made contact with something that wasn't supposed to exist. Then the signal cut out. No one ever found the source. James had stayed behind when the others left. He built this cabin near the old signal site. He couldn't explain why. Maybe guilt, maybe hope, and then the knocking started. Now, he finally knew it wasn't random. It was connected to the mission. He stared at the crystal again. He had a theory now. Maybe the girl, Lyra, wasn't alive in the normal way. Maybe her consciousness had been trapped in the alien tech when the colony fell. Maybe she was using the signal to reach him. The next night, James couldn't rest. He sat outside the cabin, staring at the stars. He thought about the way she never aged, never changed. She looked exactly like she did the first day. Her hair didn't move in the wind. Her skin didn't grow cold in the frost. She was a ghost made of light, but one that was trying desperately to live. James made a decision. Tomorrow, he would not just open the door. He would talk to her, no matter what happened. He would ask her everything. The wind picked up, carrying a faint hum through the valley. He looked up and saw strange flickers in the sky, like stars blinking in a pattern. He realized it matched the same rhythm as the crystal's pulse. Someone or something was still transmitting. Maybe from far away, maybe from another world. He went inside and began setting up his old recording gear again. He positioned cameras, sensors, and a small audio trap to catch her voice. If she was sending a message, he would find the meaning. He spent hours preparing, checking wires and cleaning lenses. By the time he finished, the sun was rising. Fog drifted low around the ground. The cabin was silent, waiting. Then came the sound. 3 soft knocks. James's heart pounded. He walked slowly to the door, hand trembling on the handle. He opened it. She stood there again, glowing softly in the morning mist. He took a deep breath. "Lyra," he said, his voice shaking. "Is that you?" For the first time, the girl's eyes widened. She looked at him, really looked. Her lips moved, and she whispered, "You promised you'd come back." The air shimmered around her like heat waves. Then she vanished, leaving only silence behind. The fog drifted away. James fell to his knees. He knew now, this wasn't over. It was just beginning. The morning after the strange event, James Walker couldn't think of anything else. Those words kept echoing in his mind. "You promised you'd come back." He sat at his desk, staring at the small crystal glowing faintly on the table. The air in the cabin felt heavy, filled with something unseen. He knew this was more than just a haunting. This was communication. A cry for help from somewhere far beyond. James replayed the last recording again and again. Every time he heard more details, faint static sounds, rhythmic pulses, a pattern. He recognized it. It was a coded signal, the same kind used by colony beacons. But it was mixed with alien frequencies, something not made by humans. He connected the crystal to his computer and opened his old decryption software. Lines of symbols filled the screen, glowing blue, strange shapes, circles, and shifting lines appeared. The translation program struggled, showing half words in fragments. Then one phrase formed clearly on the monitor. "Coordinate link active." James's heart raced. He opened the map file. It displayed a location, far away from Earth, deep within the Vega system, the same region where the colony had disappeared. He leaned back, memories flooding his mind. He saw flashes of fire, screams, radio static, and the explosion that ended the mission. He had left people behind. He had left her behind. Now, after 3 years, her voice had found him again. James felt guilt mixing with hope. If she was sending coordinates, maybe she was still alive, or maybe her mind, her data, was trapped somewhere inside alien technology. He didn't know, but he had to find out. As the sun began to set, he powered up his old satellite dish behind the cabin. It hadn't worked in years. He rewired circuits, replaced old parts with what he had. The dish came to life with a low hum. He aligned it toward the coordinates on the map. The signal was weak but real, a faint pulse traveling across the void. He sent a single word back into the channel. Lyra. For hours, nothing happened. The cabin was silent, except for the soft buzz of machines. Then suddenly, the lights flickered. A faint vibration shook the air. James looked outside. The night sky was glowing. A ripple of blue light spread across the stars. Then a shape appeared above the horizon. Not a ship, not clouds, something else, like the sky itself was bending. James stepped outside, staring in awe. Strange symbols formed in the air, glowing faintly. He realized they were the same as on his screen. They were part of the message. The sky was decoding it for him. The crystal on the table started to hum louder. He grabbed it and felt warmth spreading through his hand. Then a soft voice echoed in his mind. "Daddy?" He froze, heart racing. "Lyra?" He whispered. The voice answered, faint but clear. "Help me. I am lost. They trapped us. They took everything." James fell to his knees. He could feel her presence now, like she was standing right beside him. He looked up and saw her image flicker in front of him. A hologram made of light and memory. Her face was sad, eyes full of fear. "They're coming again," she said. "Who?" James shouted, but her image flickered. Fading away, the wind rose sharply, scattering dust and leaves, and the hologram vanished, leaving only the blue glow in the sky. James stood there, breathing hard. The signal was growing stronger. He ran back to his computer and checked the readings. A new line of text appeared. Data transfer 14% complete. Something was sending him information. He didn't know what, but it was big. He waited, watching the numbers rise, 20%, 30%, 50%. Then the system froze. The lights in the cabin flickered out, darkness. He grabbed a flashlight and tried to restart the computer. When the power returned, one image appeared on the screen. It was the research station from the lost colony. Still intact, floating among stars, surrounded by a strange blue field. The file name said, Echo Project. James whispered to himself. Echo Project, he remembered now, before the explosion. The scientists were testing a memory preservation system. They wanted to store human consciousness inside a digital core in case of disaster. If that system survived, it could mean Lyra's mind was inside it. She wasn't just sending a signal. She was calling him from inside the machine. Suddenly, the radio transmitter came to life. Static filled the room, followed by a faint, broken voice. "James, it's not safe here. They are still searching." He leaned forward, trembling. "Lyra, where are you?" He shouted, but the voice faded again outside. Thunder rolled across the mountains. Strange lights flashed in the clouds. Not lightning. Something artificial. James could feel energy in the air. Whatever was happening wasn't just communication. It was a doorway. Something on the other side was opening. He looked back at the computer screen. The last message blinked slowly. Signal bridge active. One transmission remaining. James knew this was it. He had one more chance to reach her. He placed his hand on the crystal and whispered, "I'm coming, Lyra." The blue light filled the cabin. Brighter and brighter. It felt warm, peaceful, almost familiar. And then, for the first time in 3 years, James felt something he had forgotten. Hope. The next morning, the cabin felt colder than usual. James Walker hadn't slept all night. He sat near the old radio, staring at the crystal that still glowed faintly blue. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Each flicker reminded him that Lyra was still out there. Somewhere, trapped in that strange place between worlds. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. If she was sending signals, he had to send something back. Something powerful enough to break through. He pulled open the metal locker beside his workbench. Inside were the broken pieces of his old ship equipment. Transmitter coils, antenna boards, and fuel cells. It was junk to most people, but to him, it was hope. James spent the whole morning rebuilding. He worked with shaking hands, soldering wires, adjusting frequency knobs, connecting parts that hadn't been used in years. The machines hummed to life one by one. He could almost hear Lyra's voice in the static. "Daddy?" He looked up, breathing hard. "I'm coming," he whispered. By sunset, the new transmitter was ready. It stood tall beside the cabin, patched together with metal and wires. Glowing faintly in the dark, James checked his data. The coordinates still pointed to the same location in the Vega system, the Echo Project Station. That was where she was. He had no ship to reach it, but he could send energy, a strong, coded human signal, if she was alive in digital form. It might help her find him. He pressed the main switch. The cabin lights flickered. The machine roared softly as power flowed through. Then, on his screen, the signal started transmitting. Blue waves of energy moved upward, vanishing into the night sky. The whole air vibrated with a low hum. For a moment, it felt like the entire world was breathing. James sat back in his chair. Exhausted, outside, the fog thickened again, swirling in strange patterns. He thought it was the wind until he heard the knocking. 3 soft knocks. His heart jumped. He turned slowly toward the door. It was her, standing there again, glowing brighter than ever before. But this time, she wasn't silent. Her lips moved quickly, words forming faster than he could follow. The air shimmered around her, her voice breaking with static. "They know, Gaddy. They're watching the signal." "You must stop it." James frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" He asked, "Who's watching?" But before she could answer, the lights in the cabin went out. The only light came from her blue glow and the transmitter outside. A deep hum filled the air, too deep to be natural. Then came another sound, a low, distant rumble, like something huge moving above the clouds. James ran to the window. High in the sky, he saw faint shapes, dark, round shadows gliding silently through the fog. They weren't planes, and they weren't human. They were ships, alien ships. He could feel the ground shaking as they passed overhead. The signal had been found. They had tracked it, just as she warned. The girl's glow flickered, her image growing weaker, her voice cracked. "They're coming for the memory core. They will erase everything. Lyra." James shouted, "How do I stop them?" The image shimmered again. "Almost gone now," she whispered. "Don't let them take the light." "It's me." Then she vanished. The room fell silent. Outside, the transmitter was still pulsing, sending the human signal into space. James hesitated only a second before running out into the storm. The wind was fierce. Rain started to fall, glowing faintly blue as it hit the ground. He reached the base of the transmitter and began pulling wires. Sparks flew, burning his hands. The signal was too strong now. The power core locked in transmission mode. He couldn't shut it off. The hum from the sky grew louder. Closer, lightning flashed, revealing one of the alien ships fully, a massive black shape with lines of light crawling across its surface. James shielded his eyes, his heart pounding. He felt tiny under its presence. Then a beam of light shot down from the ship. Hitting the transmitter, the whole ground shook. The machine exploded into a storm of sparks. James was thrown backward, hitting the ground hard. He lay there for a moment, dazed, rain pouring over him. The blue light faded. The sky went quiet. When he looked up again, the ships were gone. Only smoke and silence remained. He stumbled back into the cabin, coughing. Everything inside was destroyed. The monitors shattered. The power cells burned out, but the crystal was still there. Glowing softly on the floor, he picked it up. The glow was faint but steady. When he touched it, he heard her voice again. "Thank you," she whispered. "I stopped them." For now, James sank into his chair, exhausted. He didn't know if she was safe or if she had sacrificed herself to block the aliens. But he knew this wasn't over. He could feel it. The signal was still alive somewhere. Maybe she was still trying to reach him. Maybe she was waiting for him to follow. He turned on the backup generator. The computer flickered weakly to life. One last message appeared on the screen. Transmission redirected. Echo station link open. James stared at the words. Heart pounding. It was still there. Still active. She had given him another path. Another chance. He looked up at the dark sky and whispered, "Hold on, Lyra. I'm coming." The wind carried the words into the night, and far above, beyond the clouds, something flashed in answer, a single pulse of blue light. The cabin was dark, except for the weak glow of the crystal. James Walker sat beside it, his hands shaking outside. The storm had finally passed, but the air still carried the faint sound of thunder far away. He stared at the screen, where the message still blinked. Transmission redirected. Echo station link open. For a long moment. He didn't move. He was afraid to believe it. After everything, after all the danger, could Lyra really still be out there, waiting for him? The glow from the crystal brightened slightly. He felt warmth on his fingers. A soft pulse like a heartbeat. That was enough for him. He stood up and began preparing. He knew what he had to do. If the Echo station still existed, then maybe he could reach it through the link. Maybe she was there, trapped inside that alien system. Maybe all the lost colonists were there too. And maybe, just maybe, humanity had one more chance to bring them back. He powered up the backup generator, connecting the wires directly to the crystal. The room filled with blue light. His computer started to hum, showing wave patterns and unknown symbols. They looked alive, moving on their own. Then a voice echoed through the cabin. "James." "You came back." He froze, heart pounding. "Lyra?" Her voice was faint but clear now. "I'm here. But not for long. The system is failing." James leaned closer to the screen. "I can help you," he said. "Tell me what to do." Her face appeared for a second. Made of shifting light, tears glimmered in her eyes. "You can't let them erase us," she whispered. "They said humans don't belong here. They want to delete everything human." The signal cracked with static. James clenched his fists. He remembered the stories about the alien AI, the machines that once destroyed human research outposts. If they had found the Echo station, they would try to erase it. He couldn't let that happen. He began typing commands into the computer, trying to override the system. But the alien code fought back, changing every second. Warning messages filled the screen. Data purge in progress. Human files detected. James gritted his teeth and pushed harder. He connected every device he had, using old military encryption to slow the deletion. The cabin lights flickered. The crystal glowed brighter. He could feel the heat rising. But he didn't stop. Then, through the chaos, Lyra's voice came again, stronger this time. "You can't save me. Not without power. But you can save them." "Them?" James asked. "All of us," she said. Images flashed across the screen, faces of colonists. Men and women he thought were gone forever. Their data was still there. Their memories still alive inside the Echo Project. The aliens wanted to erase them. James took a deep breath. He wasn't going to let humanity vanish that easily. He opened the power control and rerouted the generator directly into the link. The screen flashed red. Warning, system overload. He didn't care. He shouted over the noise. Lyra, hold on. The blue light filled the cabin like fire. He could feel electricity crawling through the air. The alien symbols changed. Twisting and breaking apart, the screen began to clear. Lines of human text replaced the alien code. Memory core restored. Human data reconnected. The cabin shook violently. A blast of light shot upward through the roof. For a second, James saw the sky split open, a vast blue tunnel stretching into the stars. And at the center of it, the shape of a ship. The lost Echo Station, still alive, still waiting. He heard Lyra's voice one last time. Soft, calm, almost peaceful. You came back. Daddy. James smiled through the light, tears running down his face. I never stopped trying, he whispered. The light grew brighter until everything vanished. Silence filled the forest. When the morning came, the cabin was empty. The computers were cold. The machines were silent. Only the small crystal remained on the table. But it was no longer glowing blue. It shined with a warm golden light. High above Earth's orbit, deep in the Vega system, the Echo Station flickered back to life. Human data filled the network, rebuilding piece by piece. Among them was the voice of a little girl, and the memory of a man who never gave up. The station sent one final signal across the stars. It wasn't a distress call. It was a message, simple and human. Transmission complete. Humanity endures. And far away, somewhere beyond the light, James opened his eyes. He stood in a vast white corridor filled with holograms of people smiling. Lyra ran toward him, laughing. He bent down, arms wide. She hugged him tightly, whispering again. You came back. James looked around at the faces of the colonists. They were alive inside the station's new core. He had saved them. He had saved humanity's voice. And for the first time in 3 years, he felt peace outside the station window. Stars burned bright against the endless dark, and for the first time, the message of humanity echoed across the galaxy, a simple truth that could never be erased. Humanity fights, humanity loves, humanity endures.